welcome to the replay. I know it's Saturday, but I could not stop thinking about the Queen Bee scope from yesterday and really wanted to get back on with you guys based on some feedback that I got from some folks, and I thought, it's Saturday, but let's do it anyway. All right, we don't need to keep looking at my foot, but I did want to put my shoe on there as the starting image because we're going to be talking about baby stepping out of Queen Bee mode. Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's afternoon time. How many of you guys were on the scope from yesterday about Queen Bee-itis? I recognize some names. How many of you guys were on the scope yesterday? And if you were, what was one thing that you found helpful or illuminating or just maybe overwhelming or frustrating from that scope yesterday? So some of you guys were on. So what was one thing that really stood out for you? I've gotten a lot of Facebook messages about that scope. I'd love to hear, for those of you who are on today, what was it? We're going to recap at the beginning of this for those of you who didn't hear it. I'd love to hear what was one thing. We're going to be talking about, good morning, Abby, how to actually get out of Queen Bee mode. You realize you're being too complicated. That's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. Yeah, so if you guys were on yesterday, you're going to want to invite people now because I'm going to do a quick recap at the beginning of what a queen bee is, why it's harmful for you and your business, and then we're going to go into a few baby steps, especially around, if we're going to focus on care calls today, around how to baby step out of queen bee mode. So you want to invite people now so they get on and they can hear that intro. You're going to swipe left to right on an iPhone, swipe up on an Android, so that people can get on and really start changing their businesses today. Even if it's Saturday, right? People who are building their businesses are, you might have a day of rest or so during the week, but you want to just always kind of even ruminating on things, just always working on yourself, because the more you work on yourself, the more your business will change. Right now, Susan, you're a queen bee because others won't do anything. Yep, that's a sure sign that you might be a queen bee. Not always, but sometimes. All right, so I think we have a couple more folks on. Just wanted to introduce myself. And I'm sitting on the side of the road here after my walk, so there might be some cars popping by. My name is Christy Collins. I'm a Diamond Leader with Young Living, and I really want to help you guys grow your business in a way that's sustainable. So I love to talk about the skills and the systems and the personal growth that you need to go through as you progress through the ranks so that you can build a business that is sustainable, will not burn you out, and one that will help you reach your dreams. Okay, so you taught a class last night, Lori, and a Young Living team member said you were too confusing. Compliance is hard. Well, maybe we need to do some scopes on compliance. I actually find it really refreshing. It can be really tricky to relearn the language, but I think that ultimately it's so much simpler. So let's talk about Queen Bee. For those of you, I know a lot of you are new. So to quickly recap, a queen bee or a king bee, but let's just say queen bees because I think most of you guys are women. Queen bees are those who are doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of work. You're working very hard. You are hosting a lot of classes. You are training a lot of people. You have this special thing about you. Like everything that you do is special, and like no one can really do what you do. You've got the best website of everyone on your team. You do the classes the best. You know the most information about the products. You know the comp plan better than anybody else. You're really good at enrolling people. In fact, you've enrolled a lot of people since you started building your business. We call you a master enroller, right? And so, but you're looking at things and you're realizing a couple things. You're noticing some signs in your business. You're noticing, no one else is really doing what I'm doing. Or you notice, there were 20 classes that happened in my team this month, and I had to be there at 18 of them because they wouldn't do the class if I wasn't there. So, that's interesting. And you might notice that you're getting lots and lots of phone calls and texts and emails and Facebook messages, not just from the people you've enrolled personally, but the people that they have enrolled and the people that they have enrolled. And they're all coming to you asking questions and trying to figure out what they should do about this product or this problem or this customer service challenge. And you're kind of getting sick of all the emails and the Facebook messages and the texts and all of that. And you're ready to just throw your phone against the wall, okay? and you notice that your business is stagnating. Maybe you've been stuck at Senior Star for a while. Maybe you've been stuck at Silver for a while. Maybe you've been stuck at Executive. Maybe you've been stuck at Platinum. Maybe you've been stuck at Diamond, and you're wondering, what's going on here? Like, why am I stuck? Do those things resonate with anybody on this scope? Are you in that space with any of those things that I just talked about? If so, please tap on the screen for hearts. The tapping is kind of what helps me see that you guys are with me, because I can't see you guys, right? In a class, it's so easy because you can see people nodding and you can see people laughing. The hearts and the comments are the only way that I know that I'm not wasting your time. So please either comment in, tap hearts so that I know I should keep going. Okay, stuck at Senior Star. OMG, what does that mean? Does that mean it all resonates? Is that Nick? Are you Nick? Just Nick. Okay, you're ready to move up to gold. Okay, so Queen Bee is something that can happen at any rank. In fact, I believe that you have to be constantly monitoring for Queen Bee, because you can slip into Queen Bee mode at any rank at any time. Even if you've worked diligently to prevent it, it can come back. Now, I have to tell you guys, the Queen Bee stuff is not mine. Okay, it's not mine. Queen Bee was first taught to me by Vicky Opfer. Now, Vicky Opfer is a Royal Crown Diamond. She was the second diamond ever in Young Living history. Chances are, though, you probably don't know her. You probably have not seen her on stage doing a presentation at a convention. You've probably not seen her out there on Facebook, posting and showing pictures and all that. Why is that? A Royal Crown Diamond who's not like out there. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, Vicky is we're very similar, Vicky and I. We're both introverts. We are both quiet. We both would rather be in the back of the room behind everybody else than be in any kind of spotlight. It's uncomfortable for us, but we do it when necessary. Exactly. Vicky is replicating leadership. She is building leaders. She is the epitome of the non-queen bee. Do you know what Vicky calls it? She says, you don't want to be the queen bee. Queen bee is like Superman to Vicky. Superman, right? Like somebody starts getting in trouble. It's like, Superman, off to save the day. And they wait, right? They wait for Superman to come and save everything. It's like, oh, he's here. He's going to save us all. Great. And when someone else gets in trouble, what do? Oh, we got to call Superman. He's got to come save us. We don't want to be Superman. We don't want to be on the beck and call. We don't want to be the one that everyone is relying on, the one that everyone is looking to all of the time. Okay? What is the antithesis of Superman? Clark Kent. Right? Same guy, completely different ways of being in the world. Clark Kent is there. He fades into the background. He's kind of back in the shadows. He's not the savior. Vicky is Clark Kent. She can come in to support, ask questions. She's an incredible leader. She is so good at what she does, but she does it without being a queen bee. And she's very sustainable. So someone asked a great question about, are there seasons of being a queen bee? And yes, I think if you're not monitoring it, you can slip into queen bee mode a lot. But I don't think that you have to be a queen bee in order to build your business. I think that you can do it without being a queen bee. Do I think it's really hard? Yes, particularly if you have not heard this like day one of building. And even if you do hear about it, you don't even realize that you're slipping into the mode. Because here's the challenge. I'm not saying that we don't want to take impeccable care of our teams, because we do. I'm not saying that we don't want to be there and support our builders and our leaders, because we do. I'm not saying that we should literally just go off on vacation and shut down our phones and our emails and just let everyone fend for themselves, because we don't want to do that. That's not a queen bee. A queen bee is someone who has put themselves into an expert role, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and that person has made themselves so indispensable that the team cannot exist or grow without them. That is not only harming you, that is harming every person on your team, whether they're a builder or they're a product user. So I want to share with you guys, I want to kind of dive into this over the next couple of days, and I want to go specifically, I want to look at some of the things that we do in our business on a regular basis and dissect them and show you how you might be being a queen bee without even knowing it and how to baby step out of it. So today I'd like to focus on care calls, but I would love to hear from you guys first. Are there any questions that came out of yesterday's scope or even just out of that introduction that you want to kind of throw around before we get into kind of the how-tos of it? Because I know the first time I heard this from Vicki, I was like, how many of you guys felt relieved yesterday or today if you're hearing this for the first time? How many of you feel relieved to hear this whole queen bee thing? If you do, tap for hearts like crazy. If you feel relieved, how can you get a do-over? You get it right now. You start fresh right now. That's the best part about network marketing. It's like parenting, right? You can start fresh any day. It's okay. All right, so I felt so relieved when Vicki told me this because it explained a lot of the frustration I was going through when I was executive, and then it happened again at Platinum, right? For me, it's happened several times along the way, and I always get relief when I go back and look at it and say, oh yeah, there's a reason why this is happening. There's a reason why I am burnt out. There's a reason why I feel like I can't do this sustainably, right? And so I also felt, how many of you guys felt this way? How many of you guys felt a little bit of like self-criticism or judgment or overwhelm about, oh shoot, I've been doing it all wrong. Shame on me. Now I'm going to have to go back and redo everything. How many of you guys felt like that a little bit after hearing about it yesterday? So one of you did. I see some hearts. Yes. Don't put the sad smiley faces on there. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The best way is for you to be a queen bee for a while and really understand what that's like so that you can teach your teams why they don't want to do that. And here's the thing. Many of them are not going to listen to you at first. They're going to do what they think they need to do, which is go out there and enroll a boatload of people, be very special, be very unique, build their own websites, do their own classes, do their own thing, like become the expert. And it's only when they really realize, gee, I'm really tired, they're going to come to you and say, okay, what could I do now? Do I need to do more classes? And you're going to say, no, honey, you need to take off your crown. And you can share with them what it was like for you when you took off your crown. And that's going to be a powerful story to share with them because they're going to know that you get it. So we're all going to start from scratch today. We are going to start with care calls because that's something that hopefully you guys are doing on a regular basis. Has anyone never done a care call before with a team member? If so, type no in the comments. How many of you guys do any of you not know what a care call is? Well, actually, we might have folks on the recording who can't type in. So very quickly, a care call is the way that you strengthen and build relationships with your team members, okay? So when you enroll someone into Young Living and help them set up their account, you don't just move on to the next person and promptly forget them. That's called a drive-by enrollment, and that is what gives network marketing, it's part of what gives network marketing in some places a bad name. We don't do drive-by enrollments. We are going to create relationships. We are going to really, truly serve the people on our team. Okay, so care calls. These are a great way to check in with your team members, to make sure that people are using their products with confidence, to make sure that the products are not sitting there gathering dust on the shelves. And it also allows you to tune into your team members so that you know what kind of classes to offer, so you know what you can do to support them. Okay? Queen bees still support people, but they do so in a way that helps the person get the tools and the knowledge that they need for themselves, instead of making you be the expert that they need to come to. Okay, think of it like this. A queen bee is like a doctor, right? A lot of parents, when they have their children, they will wait and they will say, well, something's wrong, I need to go to the doctor. The doctor will tell me what's wrong with my child and how to fix it, right? That's kind of like putting the doctor in a queen bee mode, right? That's not, sometimes we need the doctor, yes, but think of how great it is when you're a parent and something happens with your child and you're able to say, oh, I know what to do about that. I don't have to go to the doctor. I got this, right? It's a very different feeling, okay? And for the doctor, it's wonderful because then the doctor's not getting 5 billion calls a day. Okay, so we are going to try to help people be their own, and I don't want to use the word doctor because that's probably, then that raises compliance questions. How about this? Instead of handing someone the fish, we are going to teach them how to fish. So when you get on a care call with someone, you can do it however you want. There is no formula for them. I'm going to walk you through 3 questions that I often ask during my care calls, and we're going to look at how you would ask these questions and answer these questions as a queen bee, and how would you do it as Clark Kent. Okay, you guys ready for that? Do you think that would be helpful? I'm not seeing any comments or hearts. Do I still have you guys with me? There we go. We still have people. Okay, we're going to start with care calls today, and then I think what we'll do is we'll dive in and dissect we'll just dissect gatherings and classes next, and then we're going to dissect how you are doing your business training with your business builders another day. So I want to start with care calls because whether you have one person on your team or you have 10,000 people on your team, you are going to be doing care calls. So I think it's applicable for everybody. So a care call, this is just a very informal call. You just pick up the phone and you call the person. There's no appointment needed. There's no schedule needed. You just pick them up. Yeah, if you're driving, don't tap the phone. I just want to make sure people are here. You're picking up the phone, you're calling someone. Now, this might be someone that you have personally enrolled. It might be someone who is several layers deep in your organization. I like to make care calls to lots of different people because I learn lots of different things when I get that personal connection with someone. So if someone picks up, I will say, hi, this is Christy Collins. If they don't know who I am, if they're deep in the organization, I will say, I'm one of your support leaders from the Essentially Powerful Oil team. And then I'll say, I just wanted to call and do a quick care call with you. Do you have 5 minutes? Because care calls are like 5 minutes long. They're not an hour long. If something comes up in a care call that needs to be addressed in a longer conversation, that's when we set an appointment for it. But a care call is like 5 minutes, right? You can do it very quickly. I will do care calls a lot in the car. I do care calls if my kids if they get into Nerf guns and lightsabers out in the backyard and I know I have 5 minutes, I will pick up the phone and do a quick care call. They can be done anywhere, anytime, really, really easy. So after I introduce myself, the first question I ask every single person is, I will say, I would love to, there's a quick question. Is care call best to motivate or check in with team without being pushy or queenie? So care calls themselves are not queenie at all because you are connecting with somebody. But you can do a care call in a queen fashion, and that's what we're going to look at right now. So let's say you ask someone, what is your favorite Young Living product that you're using right now? Or what's like the newest and greatest Young Living product that you've tried recently? Okay, so let's just imagine, well, why don't you guys write down for me right here? What is your favorite Young Living product right now? Just type in the comments what you're like, oh, what's that one that you just love the most right now? Let's see what you guys are addicted to these days. White Angelica, Nitro, Cool Azul, Awesome, Stress Away, Endoflex, Black Spruce, Abundance, yes, Valor 2, Sandalwood, Deep Relief, Abundance, Purification, Awesome. Okay, so the first person who typed in White Angelica. Okay, so what I'm going to ask that person is, oh, White Angelica, that's awesome. Tell me, how are you using it? What are you doing with it? I'd love to hear how people are using their oils. And then I'm going to listen, right? I'm going to listen to what they say. Now, what have I done? I've done something really important. I'm keeping the spotlight on them, right? And they're going to tell me how they're using White Angelica. And why? Because everyone loves to talk about how they're using their oils, right? You just love it. People love talking about their oils. So they might share with me, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, I'd love to do this, right? So a queen bee would not ask them what they're doing. A queen bee, as soon as they hear, oh, White Angelica, they'd be like, oh, White Angelica, I love White Angelica. In fact, I was just at this seminar, and I learned this about White Angelica. And did you know the frequency of White Angelica? And this and that. And they're going to go on and on about how much they know about White Angelica. They're going to give all sorts of tips to this person about White Angelica without ever having asked the team member, would you like to hear a tip about White Angelica or how I use it? And they're going to go on, and they're going to demonstrate how smart they are and how much they know. And then they're going to wonder why that person doesn't want to engage with them anymore on that care call. Now, you're saying to me, yes, but isn't that information helpful? Yes, it is, but that's a queen bee way of delivering it, right? It's a queen bee way. So how do you baby step out of queen bee? How do you take the crown off little by little? Okay, let's say someone says to me, like I saw somebody wrote purification on there. That was their favorite oil, okay? So I would say, wow, purification, that's awesome. Tell me what you're doing with purification. How are you using it, okay? If you guys are finding this scope helpful, if you think there are people that could use some help with their care calls, please share. Left to right, swipe on the iPhone, swipe up on an Android, get some more people in here so that they can hear. I know a lot of people struggle with care calls. So purification, how are you using it? They tell me how they're using it. It's like, oh, I did this and I tried this and, I made my own deodorant with it and I did this or that. So what am I going to say? Am I then going to say, oh, well, here's how I use it? No. I don't want to be, right? Okay, so Nancy just shared she uses it in the laundry for stinky hockey gear. Now, what I might say is, yeah, my guys have stinky hockey gear too, but then I'm going to instantly switch the spotlight back onto them and I want to empower them, right? I want to empower this worker bee to become more important in the hive. So I'm going to say to them, you know what? I bet that there are people on our oil team who would love to hear that tip, because I know there are other moms that have stinky stuff in the house. Would you post that story about you using purification to help your kids' stinky hockey stuff? Would you post that onto our team Facebook page? Can you just put a quick post out there about how you're using it? Now, what has this done? This has made this person feel important, which they should, because that's a great tip that they've got. Now, if I could take that tip and go post it on a team Facebook page, did you know that purification helps with stinky stuff? But if they post about it, now, number one, they feel validated. They feel important. Number two, now they know how that they can go and post on the team Facebook page. They can share information with others. How more empowered do you think they will be to share that tip with a neighbor or another mom? Because I have told them that that's something that might be helpful for other people to hear. Okay? That is a little baby step of taking off the queen bee hat. Okay? How many of you guys want to use that tip? You're finding out 1/3 of your down that isn't on Facebook to get into your group. Right, yes, and that's exactly why you want to be saying those kind of things on care calls, because I'll say to somebody, oh, that'd be great to share on Facebook, and then they say, oh, but I'm not on the Facebook group. Oh, well then, wow, there's a great way that I can help them, right? Because if they're not on Facebook and they're not connecting with our team and they're not seeing all the stuff that's, the information that's being shared and the tips and all that, chances are, what I've noticed with my team is those people who are not on our Facebook group are often the ones who are more likely to go inactive. And if they're going inactive, that means they're not using the products. If they're not using the products, that means that their life and their health is not changing. So I can help them better by getting them onto the Facebook group. Okay? It's also a very non-queen bee thing to do, because by having them go to the Facebook group, they're not coming to me, they're not looking to me as their only source of information on the oils. Care calls for business members or all enrollments. I consider everyone on my team to be a product user. I do care calls with my leaders as well. Even if they're building, it doesn't matter. They're using the products too. So everyone needs a care call. It's so funny, I did a care call with one of my leaders a few weeks ago, and I guess she and I haven't done a care call in a while because we're both very business-like, so we get on the phone and we just get into the business. So I did a care call, and I started asking her the same questions, and she was so funny. She said to me, "Are you trying to model something for me that I should be doing with my builders?" And I said, "No, I'm just actually asking you questions about you as a person and a human being." I said, I want to hear how you're doing. And it was one of the best calls we've had in a long time, because underneath all the business talk, there were things personally that we needed to discuss to support her into her growth to her next level. Okay? So let's go back to the care call. So I've asked this person to post now to the Facebook page, right? To share that information with other people, to empower her to share it, not me. The second question I ask on a care call is something like this. So out of all the things that you've bought from Young Living so far, is there anything that you're not sure of how to use? Is there anything that's gathering dust on your shelf somewhere? Okay, so let me ask you guys that. Do you guys have any oil that you don't know how to use? Or do you have a product that's just sitting there gathering dust on the shelf right now? Something that you bought and then you forgot what you bought it for and you're not sure what to do with it. We might have super duper product users on here. We've got one no. I will tell you what I hear from a lot of people on the call, especially right now. So there's a couple: basil, Egyptian gold, ICP. Okay, you haven't used your DiGize. Yeah, let's take DiGize, because DiGize can be a little intimidating to people. It's an intense blend, right? So let's say if someone says DiGize to me, again, how would a queen bee answer that? A queen bee is going to go into all the things she knows about DiGize. Well, have you tried this? Well, have you tried this? Well, I read this. Well, oh my goodness. Well, I learned about it this way and da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Queen bee is going to instantly go into vomiting oils all over this person. What's going to happen there? The person, let's say that somebody shares, let's say that person that you just vomited DiGize information all over, let's say they share with their neighbor, and the neighbor gets the kit, and the neighbor comes back and says, I just don't know what to do with this DiGize stuff. Well, your team member that you talked with about DiGize might sit there and go, oh, well, I got all this great information from Christy, but shoot, I can't remember any of it. Let's just call her and find out, right? So they're going to call me, and she's like, can you tell so-and-so what you told me about DiGize? Because I can't remember, and she doesn't know what to do with it, right? So that's queen bee. When you get calls from people asking you to train or coach or teach their folks about products, you know that you're being a little bit of a queen bee. You haven't taught your team member how to fish so that they can then teach their team member how to fish. So if someone says to me, I don't know how to use DiGize, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, are you on our team Facebook page? If they say yes, I'm going to say, great, can you go to that right now? If they're on their cell phone, I'm going to have them put it on speaker, go to the Facebook page, and I'm going to say, do you see that little magnifying glass in the top right corner of our Facebook page? Did you know you can search for anything with that magnifying glass? So I'm going to say, why don't you put in DiGize and press enter and see what comes up. Now, they're going to find all sorts of posts and comments and dialogues about DiGize. Now, I might even tell them, so we'll look through those together, and I'm going to do the same thing on my computer while they're on theirs. And so we can talk about a couple things. Say, wow, look at what that person's doing with it. Wow, look at that. And I'll say, well, what resonates with you? How might you like to try it? What do you want to try it with first? And then they'll tell me. And I'll say, do you know you can actually search any of the products with that little magnifying glass there? Is there anything else you might want to try to search for, right? And I would tell them, especially with the Premium Start Kit, we just did a 21-day challenge with the Premium Start Kit. So I might say, search DiGize and put 21-day in there. And you're going to see this whole challenge. There's going to be like 70 responses about people using DiGize. I'll be like, so your kit, all those oils in the kit, the Ningxia Red, you can search with those terms and 21 days, and all these responses are going to pop up. You're going to have so many ideas of what to do with your oils, right? So what have I done there? I have taught her how to find information on her own, right? I have taught her that. Now, if she's not on Facebook, I'm going to make a big plug for her to get on Facebook. I'm going to say, oh, shoot, if you were on Facebook, it would be so great because you could look this up. If they're not, though, I'm going to send them to the virtual office, and I'm going to send them to the product education section or Sharing Young Living the Right Way, and I'm going to say, hey, check out those suggested product claims document. Let's do a word search on DiGize and see what pops up. Now I have compliant stuff from Young Living. Now she has a document that she can go to at any time to look up any product. I'm teaching her how to fish. I'm teaching her to be able to be her own health expert. And that's taking me out of queen bee mode. Okay? So, and somebody said this might take more than 5 minutes. It might, yeah. And sometimes they're 7, and sometimes they're 8 minutes. And sometimes you might only get to one question. But if you direct them to one way to help themselves, isn't that helpful for them? Sometimes people don't need 20 options, they just need one option. And then when you do your next care call, you could direct them to one more thing. Let them integrate it first before you overwhelm them and bombard them with so much information, right? So let's talk about one more thing, because I know people are bringing up compliance and all that. And how many of you guys are finding it challenging to do care calls now with some of the new compliance challenges? Jen is asking, do you recommend getting the pocket reference guide to new members when doing a call? You direct members to the pocket reference. So here is the challenge. Many of the reference tools that we used to direct people to are not compliant anymore. So technically we are not allowed to, by name, refer to those tools. I don't know did you guys know that? You are not allowed to have, and I won't even say them by name on the scope, but a lot of the traditional reference tools you cannot have at classes, and you cannot have them. So that's what our team used to do for the longest time is I'd say, oh, if I'd said to somebody, hey, what's one major health goal that you guys are working on right now? What's something you're trying to figure out with your family? And they might say blah, 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 right? Insert your own medical disease, condition, whatever in there. Now, I wasn't a doctor, so I couldn't talk about that, but I would pick up my little reference tool and I used to say, well, let me look this up in my reference tool. Do you have yours there? Let's look it up together, right? We can't do that anymore. Those tools are not compliant, so we cannot voice information from them. We can use them personally for ourselves, but we cannot use them when talking to our members. We can, however, here's how I'm going to tell you how I approach it on care calls, okay? Or in any question from anybody. Let's say I'm on a care call and I ask them the question of, if you had to tell me one thing that you'd like to do to, feel really good and really healthy right now, like what's one health goal that you have? And they're going to say, insert something non-compliant, right? So what I'm going to say is, wow. Oftentimes if they're saying a medical disease or condition, I don't even know what it is, right? I don't, because I'm not a doctor. So I will say, wow, I don't even know what that is. I'll say, is that a disease? Is that a medical thing? And they say, oh, yeah, it's what. And I say, oh, that's why I don't know about it. I'm not a doctor. And I'll say, we're actually not allowed to talk about diseases and medical conditions and things like that because we aren't doctors. But what we can talk about is, how to help you be healthy and well. So I'll say, listen, here's one thing you can do. Open up your computer, open up Google. Go on to Google and put that long name of whatever that condition was that you just told me that I don't know what it is. Put that into Google and then put in body systems. And tell me what pops up. Because what I can talk to you about supporting body systems. We could talk about supporting your digestive system. We could talk about supporting your respiratory system. We could talk about helping you with healthy skin and all that. But I can't talk about that specific medical condition. So when they search their medical condition and body systems, they're going to find out what body system it's associated with. And they'll say, yeah, well, gosh, it says digestive system. And I'll say, oh, that's great. Because Young Living products are great to support the digestive system. I can talk to you about your digestive system, maintaining and supporting a healthy digestive system. Would that be helpful for you? And we go from there, right? So maybe we go into the Facebook group and put digestive system in. I might direct her to some of the handouts that we have. I'm sure you guys have handouts too that kind of talk about supplements and oils in terms of the body systems. And so I'm going to help model compliance and the new wellness way by that. And I'm going to direct her to tools. Now, I'm also going to probably say, I will often say, one of the things I've found most helpful is having my own reference tools in my home so that, say if I'm not around, you just can use your own reference tools. You don't need me. Obviously, I'm not helpful because I didn't even know what that condition was, but so now you know how to kind of figure out what body system it's related to. So you probably want to get your own reference tools so that you can be your own health expert. And there are tools you can get them from lots of places. You can get them from Life Science Publishing. You can get them from Abundant Health for You. You can get them from Amazon. There are even apps on your phone that you can get. So would you rather have a book to look at or would you rather have an app? What would be better for you? And then we go from there. So I'm not listing out the specific title, the specific book. I'm just listing out different sources. And it's very easy for people to figure out what it is for themselves. So that is how I get around some of the compliance stuff. And that is how I get around the reference tools that we can use for ourselves, but we cannot use them anymore in trying to help people kind of troubleshoot what's going on for them. Okay, so I'm actually going to get up. I'm going to walk back home now because my guys are probably wondering where I am. My husband's probably thinking I'm like on the side of the road somewhere. So I hope that this was helpful in kind of dissecting the care calls And you guys can play around with that a little bit. You know, just notice, maybe you want to take some time to reflect and look at how your care calls usually go, and whether you're in a queen bee mode of trying to give all the information and be someone's, you know, health expert, or if you're really teaching them how to fish. You're teaching them how to find the information that they need. Because if you want them to share with someone else, you want them to be able to show someone else how they can find their own information too. Because if they know that every time they call you, you pick up the phone and you're right there and you're talking to them and you're answering all their questions, most people aren't going to want to be that person to somebody else, especially if they're a busy mom who doesn't have time to be on the phone all day. They're not going to want to do that. So if you want duplication happening and you want your team to continue to grow, you want people to look at you and say, oh, I could do what you do, and then go out there and do it, you really want to make sure that you're out of queen bee mode as much as possible. Okay? So how many of you guys learned something new that you want to go out and try this weekend on a care call? How many of you guys are going to try one of those things? Excellent scope. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. If this was helpful, please share it with other folks. Part of what we do at Young Living, you know, I could very easily keep all this information in for my team, and I could just, you know, keep it in our private Facebook groups and keep it in our business builder section, and I could save it just for my team. That's not how Young Living works. Young Living wants everyone to succeed. So as a leader, I feel a responsibility to share, to help other people, just like people did for me when I was starting out. So if you're holding on to this information without sharing it with other people, you might want to expand a little, open a little, and think, is there anybody who might be helped with this information? If you have a thought of, wow, I'm going to now go take this to my team, I'm going to share it with all of them, they're going to think I'm so like smart and figured it out, that's a queen bee mode. Don't do that. You want to share it with people so that they can then share it with other people, so they can then share it with other people. You don't want to be the smart one, right? I'd claim nothing for this. This was all Vicki Opfer. I'm just messaging it in a way that actually makes it work for me and helps me, and hopefully it will help you guys too. So to share, you swipe left to right on an Android or on an iPhone, you swipe up on an Android. It will be here for 24 hours, so don't delay. I'm not going to do a scope tomorrow because it's my family day, so I'm not going to be on scopes tomorrow, but I think on Monday we'll do a scope on how to get out of queen bee mode. We're going to either do it around gatherings or your business builder trainings. Which would be most helpful for you guys? Type in either classes or business builder, and we'll see which one gets the most votes, and we'll start there. Business builder, classes, gatherings. All right, we have 5, 6, 7 for classes. Business builders coming back up. 3 for business builders. 8, both. We'll get to both, but we'll see which one is most helpful first. All right, it looks like classes is the winner. So we'll focus on classes first, and we will talk about that when next week comes around. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.